So we've got some news today, huh? I don't know if you guys have been watching your feed. We've got some news.
What's the news?
What's the news? The new Z is out. Did you guys see that?
New Z is everywhere.
The driving impressions, anyway.
Yeah.
What's that?
Methinks an
New Z
embargo
is
got
everywhere.
lifted.
Yeah.
The driving impressions are out, and then the pricing has also been revealed. So what do you guys think about that? $39,990 starting price.
I mean, that's a hell of a bargain when you consider how much this car brings to the table, right?
I was gonna say, for what it does, 40 grand is a pretty impressive price. There was a great video that I shared in our Shifting Lanes chat today that you guys watched or skimmed over about is on Haggerty, and you guys should go check out that video because Jason Camisa basically just takes the Z, the Supra, the new Supra, and the new Mustang Mach-1 and drag races them. There's also a special guest in that video as well of a Vantage 2010 Vantage V8 from Aston Martin, or V8 Vantage I should say. And honestly, the Z is very impressive. I won't ruin the video for you. You really should just go watch it. Honestly, it's impressive. 40 grand with what it does, very impressive.
It's still more expensive than the 370Z when new,
Which it should
but
be. It's a better car.
you know, we get adjust for inflation and stuff. So like, still, it's more expensive than the older version. But yeah, still a ton of car. You know, we're looking at $2022 basically. A ton of car. I feel like they're losing money on the base sport model because they do strip a lot out of it. So the pricing goes, under $40,000 for the sport model. And then if you get the performance package, which I don't know what they call that, it's like another 10 grand. And it gets you,
I believe it's called
19-inch
actually
wheels.
the performance package.
The performance package, okay. And it gets you the limited slip diff, the clutch type.
Good to note on that Haggerty video, they did use the performance pack. So basically they were saying like 50K for any of these cars is what their, baseline was. So it did have the performance package attached to it. So just note that if you do watch it.
Okay. I think that the Z is still the cheaper version, or it's still the cheapest out of the three in that comparison.
Yep.
Because I think the Toyota Supra 3.0, I think that starts around like 52 or 55, and then the Mach-1 is $55,000. So the Z is still the cheapest out of the three. But yeah, a ton of car. Really excited to be testing that out eventually, and it looks good too. Like everyone says, like the handle's great, the steering feedback's pretty good, power is awesome. So yeah, I'm really excited for that one. I think it's going to be the attainable sports car to get.
I mean, let's look at it. I mean, all the ingredients are there. You have a platform that is sorted. It may be long in the tooth, but that also means that it's pretty much as good as it can be, which in those Z cars is pretty dang good. They're taking a tried and true engine and putting it like they really did a good job of taking what they had, putting it in a chassis they know is good, and putting it all together. $40,000. 50, I mean, even at 50K with the LSD and all the performance package goodies you mentioned, it's a hell of a bargain because the 6-cylinder Supra starts at like $60,000-$70,000. I don't know. I think this thing is going to sell crazy. I think it's the JDM revival car everybody thought the Supra should be. Whether you think it's still just a great car and you need to get over the BMW-ness of it, or you're just bummed out that it's not really a either way. The Z is 100% Nissan, 100% in-house. It, doesn't try to it harkens back to the old days. It's got, I'm with you. I can't wait to get my hands on one and drive one because for a new car, it's going to be incredibly sorted. And it, from all that I've seen, the interior and stuff like that is pretty upscale given the Nissan nameplate badge. So yeah, I mean, that thing's gonna be a rocket ship. It's gonna, when you're rivaling the Mach-1, that is some pretty heady company to be in.
So yeah, you touched on this, Chad, about this is like 100% Nissan, and I think like the chief engineer,
apart from the automatic, which is Mercedes.
Yeah. That's true. It's like, the business case for a sports car is not good, right? Like that's why companies like Toyota had to collaborate with Subaru to make the 8.6 platform, and they had to collaborate with BMW to create the Toyota Supra, BMW Z4. But you know, if Nissan wanted to build a Z on a new platform, they would have had to do it with another company. So it's like them sticking to an old platform. I mean, that's fine.
It doesn't need to be new and
there's
great.
really nothing wrong with. Exactly. It's like a platform is the chassis, right? Like it's everything that gets bolted onto that. So if you make a new chassis, a new platform, you have to like change a bunch of other different things. So it's like the fact that they stuck with a tried and true platform. They stuck the engine from the Infinity Q60 Red Sport, I think, which makes 400 horsepower and twin turbo V6. And then they just kind of like modernized everything. So it's like they're taking more of an evolutionary approach. Granted, it's based off of the 370Z, which is also based off of the 350Z.
It's also based off of a cart and a horse. No, I'm kidding. But to your point, that's exactly it. To your point, like in this price point, being the fastest is not as important as being the driving feel. I don't know anyone who's driven a Z, whether it be 350, 370, G35, G37, anyone who's driven any of those cars and come back and said, yeah, this is dull, boring, and a death machine. Like, they are all really good.
The Zs, the modern Zs always get kind of crapped on for like, oh, they sound terrible because of the VQ. But like, everyone focuses on that, and no one really focuses on like, they're quite good drivers' cars. Like, one of our first press events was IMPA Test Days. And IMPA is our local, if you guys don't know what it is, it's like a regional press association for like automotive journalists and like up and coming automotive writers and stuff. And back in the day, it was really popular with like a lot of Jalopnik people. Mike Spinelli was actually was the president for a long time. So it's like this legit group. It stands for International Motor Press Association. One of the first ones we went to was back in 2014, I want to say it was. They had a 350 or a 370 Nismo there, and it was honestly my favorite car of all of them that we drove that visit. And there was a Bentley there, there was a Chevy SS there was a GTR there. We got into all these cars, and all of them were cool and amazing, but the 370 was just like, it felt like a cockpit. It felt super tight planted. Everything was focused on the driving experience, and it was just a really impressive car to me. Like, that totally changed my perspective of Zs forever. And they've always been like really good about being a good driver's car, and it definitely, from what everyone's saying in these reviews of the new one, it definitely continues and shines through for sure.
Yeah, it's a great looking design. They have a lot of design cues from older Zs, like the rear taillight and like that square opening on the front. And yeah, when I went to the New York Auto Show, there were two Zs there, and it looks really good in person. I mean, you have to see this thing in person. It looks a lot better than the photos. Just looking at the photos right now of the Z, it looks awkward from some angles, but when you're there in person.
Yeah, it actually was at Carlisle. We'll talk. I guess we should maybe touch on that a little bit too, a little later. But Carlisle is a import performance nationals in Carlisle, Pennsylvania. It's a big like fairground, and they do stuff there. But they had the Z there, and I saw it in person. It's pretty gorgeous. I gotta be honest with you. To me, like, I like the way the new Supra looks, but I think the Z looks better.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to see them side to side because I don't know. I like the Supra. Love that wide body look, but yeah, I'm gonna have to see them side by side, I think, to really judge which one's better.